Good morning. Good Sunday morning. This is the Hot Seat Podcast presents Football Talk Live. I'm your boy Shawn Xavien alongside the homie, the storyteller. And today is October 5th, 2025. And of course, we are powered by DUBBY Energy, streaming live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. And as always, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Hot Seat Podcast. And speaking of podcasts, make sure you listen, like, subscribe, rate, and review Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite shows. Good morning to another football Sunday. And we're going to get through this show without technicalities, I hope. Welcome back, man. Welcome back. How you feeling this morning? It's a beautiful day out. I'll say this.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great day for weather. So yeah, I hope to see some really, really good games. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. You know, I'm coming off a win, so you know, I gotta be joyful in all that he has created and done.
Man, good day. We'll talk about that, man. It was a really, really good day. I don't know if it was surprising, but you know, it was a good day. It was a good day all around. Good day for football. Of course, you guys, if it's your first time watching the show, you know, we go in and give our analysis, game recaps, hot takes, and everything else, man, around both college and NFL football. And while we're doing that there, Master Earl, if you notice, he's out today, but we do have a more than adequate substitute. We're going to bring in our official statistician himself. I'm trying to figure out what's happening with my weird screen here. As I try to bring in.
You said no technicalities.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm trying not to jinx us, but that's I might have did that low key. Had no idea. But let's go ahead and bring
while you're doing that
only.
Good.
Go ahead. What'd you about to say?
We got like the Super Mario type background.
It's just a standard blurred background. Everything from the web, they're trying to go with a web page, and
yeah, that ain't supposed to look.
Yeah.
You're totally frozen, Shawn.
The den is in a demo right now.
So we're trying to move it over into the to the right.
It's definitely showing.
So I was just shouting out the fact of breast cancer aware. Can you hear me?
I think we look right now. I'm not at the moment.
So Breast Cancer Awareness Day?
Yeah, I don't know if we're losing our host or not. But yeah, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, you know, that's why I got all the pink on. Definitely shout out to Steiner Woodruff. He got the Live Life, Love Life representing breast cancer awareness. So real big within my household, within the family. So definitely shout out there. Have you noticed? I'm trying to remember. Well, this would be the first one, I guess, towards this month. I guess I should look at this game. Are they rocking the pink? Because I remember they were rocking it heavily.
Not today.
Interesting.
Not today, but they may have.
They have been, but not as much. Oddly enough, you know, the person who was at the helm, the am I in there with you guys?
I can hear you.
Oddly enough, the person who was at the helm for the longest time, I forget her first name. What is happening? Yeah, what is happening right now? I don't know what's going all over the place. Yeah, that's how it goes. In any case, I'm gonna try this again. The person who was at the helm of the
person who was at the helm. We got you.
Am I in here?
Yeah, you said the helm about 4 times over.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha.
On his Booker T.
My bad. I don't know what was happening. Was Miss Snyder? I forget her first name. Yeah, Daniel's wife, she was actually the one leading the charge on the breast cancer awareness thing when she was in Washington back then. And since they, of course, are no longer part of the NFL after them selling the Commanders, to your point, I haven't seen them really like be involved in that, not really be showing as much. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence or, I don't know.
Got it.
But in any case, man, let's go ahead and get into some college football talk, man, here on Football Talk, powered by DUBBY.
DUBBY.
All right. So if you guys see our college football top 25 scoreboard at the bottom, we had a lot going on yesterday. And let's just go ahead and get the let's get the upsets and the whelps out of the way. We can start with Penn State first. Man, oh man. So they got upset by winless UCLA, who done fired their coach. They got all type of situations going over there at UCLA, and they came in and they gave it to Penn State, man. This is like the second game this year, if I'm correct, that Penn State then kind of like didn't look good. But this is like the numerous time that Penn State has gotten to a certain level in that top 5, top 10, whatever the case may be, and they've fallen short. So I'm gonna let you two conference rivals here discuss your Penn State.
Let me in on all this.
Adversary.
I'm glad you started off with this. So let me in on all this, and it's great that Gary is on today because we had a nice conversation offline last week about some of my feels for James Franklin as far as losing the big game. So I saw an interesting meme that's pretty funny to me. You may have saw it that said, "Oh, James Franklin's out here playing chess, not checkers." He said, "Oh, you think I only lose the big games? No, I'm going to lose the small ones too." So that's what he's doing now, just losing the small ones. But I will say also within the chat with all the fellas, I do agree with the fact, and we were saying this about the Big Ten in general, you're stretching it out nationwide. And this travel, nobody can tell me that it doesn't, play a toll in some type of way in this gameplay, because it's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy. It's a lot. And do I think Penn State is better than UCLA? Yes. And do I think it was just coaching? No. I really think something about that travel. And I don't think they take that into effect. They just see the dollar signs, bringing USC, bringing UCLA, all these teams in Oregon, and saying, "Hey, let's just make it as big as we can make it." So I think that definitely plays a toll. But we have to call James Franklin to the carpet. Like, there's to not get up for this game after the game that you just lost. There's no excuse. There is absolutely no excuse on that sense. But yeah, that's how I kind of feel on it. I thought that meme was pretty interesting on the, hey, forget that. You think I only lose the big games? How you feel there, Gary?
It's almost like a reverse trap game, right? So generally speaking, you have a big game and you have a little game beforehand and you don't prep off of that stimuli, and then you get the letdown.
Yeah, he did.
I feel like this one was a little bit a double of that, to where it was like they put all this energy into the game last week. It went to overtime after being down, came back, made it look more competitive than what it was the whole game. And then you end up losing. And then gets next week, it's like, oh, it's UCLA. Like, what are we going to do with this guy who doesn't even know if he wants to play for Tennessee or whoever because he thinks he's better than he is? And then we go all the way out to the West Coast, which Dave and I think, Shawn, maybe you too, we were talking about offline previous weeks, where Michigan State had to go out there and play USC at 12:30 at night. You know what I mean? Like, ridiculous. Who on the East Coast to stand up for that?
Miami
game?
Did it.
And you can just
they played Cal
right away. The energy just ain't the same, right? So I think that's definitely part of it. But this East Coast, West Coast, I don't know. Maybe just make neutral games in the future to where all of them play right there at in Indy, like they do for the championship game. So if they got to play USC, UCLA, they got to play anybody on the East Coast. Those games just be at neutral sites, because going all the way to the West Coast, unless you have those games early in the day or treat it like.
But once again, they're going to go to numbers, Gary. They're going to go to whose home game you taking away. Yep. You taking away my home game? Because that ain't happening.
Yeah, but look how they do London, right? So kind of compare that to the NFL, to where you have these teams.
Yeah.
Minnesota, they've been 2 weeks over there in London, and what was last week? Spain. Yeah, I think Spain was last week. Whatever it was. No, Ireland.
Was it
so
Spain last week? I feel like it was. Yeah. Yeah, it was Ireland last week. Yeah.
Away games for them right there. So I mean, you said the money's going to matter, but at the same time, I don't know. It's just something has to be better than what it is right now, because that's definitely a fall for it. But as far as Franklin, ain't no excuse. They're going to call for his head right away.
No excuse.
Every year
they rushed for 269 yards against his defense.
Right.
269 yards. Like, what's going on?
I guess from a team that apparently UCLA isn't being well funded at all. You know, it's a lot of calls for like they not, you know, using the money, or like they need more money. It's crazy, man. Like UCLA used to be, they weren't the USC and stuff, but at least they were about something. But now just hearing some of the information, and I'm not like tapped into it, but just seeing the headline stuff coming out there since them firing their coach and everything else, and the fact that they can't get talent in, and they aren't being able to compete when it comes to the transfer portal, this, that, and the third. I'm like, God, and then they go into Penn State again. To your point, every year, I feel like every year we've been doing football talk now for almost 5 years. Every year we're talking about James Franklin, and we're just talking about him on the show. That's not including everything, you know, before then, but every year it's the same thing. Like they're here, and then you know it's coming. You can almost bet on it that he's going to have that fall off. He's going to have that major loss. They're going to get all the hype. And after a while, it's just like, fool me once, you know, then fool me twice. And after a while, it's like, bro, you know, I can't get fooled again. Ain't that what Bush said back in the day? That was pretty cool. Florida and Texas. So it ain't going to happen. But when I was kicking around, how long before because Texas, the money down there is it's no cause for concern. There's bread everywhere. How long before they make that call and like, hey, I know you enjoying your time over at ABC and ESPN and everything else, but Peyton, I think you want to come on down and coach this squad that has your nephew out here, because yes, I said it in the chat that Arch Manning still has a lot growing to do, and he was unfairly crowned as the, you know, next freaking Hall of Famer. He ain't even taken a real season. He was playing behind years. He had some good teams, but we've also seen he played against good teams, and he's wet the bed. But the offense that Sarkisian and them are running had me ready to throw stuff at my TV. And I'm not even a Texas fan, but just watching what's happening with a young quarterback that you can kind of see that his head was spinning and everything down the field. And I'm in my coach's bag now. Every play being called had like these deep pass patterns that offensive line wasn't holding up. And it's just another week where Arch Manning, man, don't look too good. Part of it is his fault, but a lot of it is his coaching fault. And I don't know if they're going to stick with Steve Sarkisian too much longer, man. A lot of money invested into this cat, and you definitely don't want to see Arch transfer, which I did see something funny. It was like Arch should transfer out to Colorado because Prime will show him, put him on display, have him throwing like 40, 50 times a year and crazy stats. But what you guys take, man, on the Florida upset and Texas overall and Arch and whatever you want to throw in
there? First off, I'll start where you ended. If he went to Colorado, yeah, he'll get the stats, but he'll also get wrecked physically because it ain't gonna be that same line. So just remember that. But what's crazy about this game that we really didn't even lead into coming into this week from last week. Think about the two teams that we're talking about, because we've been talking about them the last couple of weeks. Florida, have we not been talking about their quarterback, Lagway, and not having that headspace, not having his head right on things? Are we not talking about the same thing with Archman? So when you're sitting back and you're looking at this, this was the tale of two tapes. You saw somebody that was real confident that we haven't seen that confidence in, and that was on the Lagway side.
Right.
And then you saw somebody that's still just trying to figure it out on the Arch Manning side. What's crazy to me is when I look at this, and let me just make sure I get it right. Was Arch Manning? Yeah, he was. So Arch Manning is also your leading rusher from that team. So you're looking at Arch Manning throwing 29 times, completing 16 of the 29 passes, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Okay. But then he rushed for another 37. You're telling me you have absolutely no threat in that backfield that can get you more yards than that? He ran 15 times. The next person behind him that's a running back ran 8.
Right.
That's the problem. Defensively, if I'm coming in and I'm not scared of anything in your backfield, guess why he can get picked off and I could read everything that you're doing? Guess why I could just rush on all fronts? You get what I mean? Like, it's easy when I'm sitting back and I'm looking at these stats and I was like, yeah, I can game plan for your team. It's one-dimensional. I don't care who you got at quarterback. It's one-dimensional. So that is the problem with Texas more than even Arch. I have no idea what they're doing out there coaching-wise all the way down the line. I don't want to blame it on talent because, like you said, Texas is a big enough school that they can bring these people in. So there's no talk on that side.
They got
I don't
bread.
understand what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, while Arch Manning can run, we've never looked at him and went, oh, this is the second coming of Lamar Jackson or something. Like, that's not how you should be approaching this game. So I think they really need to go back to square one. But it was impressive to see Lagway each and every time Texas would come down there and pull it tight, that he would drive right back down that field. And we were talking about, you know, mentally where he's at and what he was missing. And it seemed like he started to get it together in certain ways within this game. So I hope he builds on that. I know you don't, but I hope he builds on that. Yeah. What do you think, Gary?
I mean,
so for Manning, he's I think right now he's ranked number 1 as far as NIL. It's like 6.8 million. So if he went to Colorado, I mean, the money is still good. Like you said, that line would just get him destroyed. And we all know how the Mannings are. You ain't going nowhere to where you're going to be a benefit to the whole family.
I mean, he can destroy now by running the most. So,
right. As far as Lagway, I think they won in spite of the team's coaching. Because I forgot who was mentioning while the game was going on. They had the game in hand. They could have just ran it out. And they decided to keep putting that ball in the air with Lagway.
They did.
And turnovers.
That's the coaching. Yeah.
That will play it out every time. So,
oh boy,
Grandma's a big Florida fan, and he wasn't going to watch the game. Talking about, you know, they just suck. And I'm like, hey, well, any given Saturday, right? And so, just so happened they stepped up, and also Texas with Archie Manning. Seems like his play doesn't necessarily step up against the big teams, but against the little small mom and pop directional teams, you know, he can go up there and throw out all the yards. So, give him another year or two.
Sounds like a confidence thing to me.
Yeah. I think at the beginning of the season, they said that he needed to wait until like next year. So he's definitely coming back.
His own family said it.
Yeah. So we see why. Like
that's when you know.
Ready, and so it's fine. Give him another year, see how it goes. Now, if next year he's doing the same thing, got a whole different story to talk about.
You need to be sitting back off season.
I mean, you know, he's going to get the you know, he's going to be getting that off-season training and stuff like that. The thing with that is, though, what they're coaching him up to do in the off-season, does that align to what they're asking him to do on the field?
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is, so when I was coaching, we're coaching players to do a specific thing. And then, you know, player X goes home, whatever, and he's working with his dad or working with someone else is telling him to do a different thing or something like that. And then he comes back out. And so we're trying to run the offense, and it's not what we're coaching him to do to work within the framework of it. It's not aligning. And now you end up just having a bunch of confusion at the end of the day. And you can only hope. I mean, I will lead to the side of the Mannings any day based off of just what I was watching them call during that game. So we're going to see, because again, to your point, if it looks the same next year, now you're talking about bad habits. Now you're talking about the likes of your quarterbacks who get drafted into the league, and you wonder why they were so great in college, but now those bad habits show why they drop in the draft. Look at Caleb Williams. Yes, he went high, but you know, it's those moments where you're like looking good, and all of a sudden things get heavy, and you go back to those bad habits.
Also remember last year, you know, Clint Ewers was there, and he wasn't looking great, and we were all wondering why Arch wasn't thrown in more. You see why.
Right.
You see why.
Now you know. Now you know. Yep. Now you know. Which also leads you to the fact that you just said that. We're talking about next year. He's a sophomore right now. You got your junior season. You don't think that the next whoever is getting ready to come up into
that is correct
college football? So if you don't get your stuff together by this season, going into next, hey man, look, you looking at that mid-round draft pick, something like that. If you don't show up and show out, guys going to move on. Guys going to get frustrated. That transfer portal thing is a thing. So it's something they need to take a look at. Another upset. I didn't watch the game. You guys may have more insight on this. Cincinnati over Iowa State. There's a lot of really unsuspected upsets. I don't know if either one of you got any insights on that Cincy Iowa game.
Didn't watch it. Definitely was watching the ticker to kind of see the score, dictate that it was going to be an upset, but not surprising. They also play tough against each other, so they play more often than not. So that's not too surprising.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't really have.
I did watch
on it. I do see the total yards though, which is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Okay. You got both teams averaging almost 500 yards for the game. So that was a shootout.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's that Big 12 type game back in the day.
Yeah, it was. You ain't lying. I was watching the late game. It was a pretty late game. It was Duke at Cal. And man, Duke looked great last night. Who had the former coach of the Miami Hurricanes, Manny Diaz, is the coach in Duke right now. Duke right now is 4-2. They're 3-0 in the ACC. They're 3-0 in the ACC, 4-2 overall. They beat Cal 45-21. So one of those things like we were talking about, you're traveling all the way out to the West Coast from Duke to Cal and gave them the business.
Exception, not the rule.
That was going on.
Not the rule.
So
sure.
I'm going to use that just to transition right. Yeah, right. Right. So I'll say this, since it led me right into talking about Coach Manny Diaz, and we were talking about coaching overall. You can look at your prospective team or your respective team or anybody else. Why? Why is it when you know you have a game in hand that you can see it? I'm pretty sure the commentators see it. Fans probably see it too. That a coach just can't get out of there with a win. So I'm wearing my orange today because we did get a win. I'm watching Miami and Florida State play. And Miami really had that game in hand the entire time. 14-3. Florida State scores about 19 points. It's like 30-something seconds left. If you get an onside kick that bounces the right way, and the way he kicked that ball was kind of weird too, but hey, it works. You're looking at a late, like, I might have to fire your ass type loss. And as much as I want to get behind, I'm always behind my Canes. I want to get behind Mario Cristobal, but I said from the point that he got hired in Miami, I wasn't a fan. If you go look at his track record in Oregon, he had a knack for getting Oregon up here, and then they losing in the biggest games. I don't have the exact numbers. Gary could probably pull it before I can finish the statement. But Mario Cristobal's record from like August to September is like 22-3, something like that. 20, something along those lines. When you get to like October, November, December, it's like 4-20 or some crazy low percentage. And they get to the end of the game, they get conservative. They get to the end when they can run it out, and they start calling these stupid ass plays, which is reminiscent of, I believe, when they played Virginia Tech a couple of years ago, when they should have just kneeled it out and they decided to run it, and it got punched out for a fumble, and they end up losing that game. Am I missing something? If you got the game in hand, win the game. You no longer get style points. This ain't the BCS era when you needed to win games by 40 points to get your rankings. Bro, at this point, you can get in the playoff, get it done. Why? Tell me why. You just can't leave well enough alone. Go win the game. That's it. All the extra stuff. Why?
So number one,
got,
great
man?
background, Gary. I like that switch up. Secondly, from the outside looking in, let me just say this first. I never ranked these rivalry games off of their own rankings and how close they are. So it being 28-22, it doesn't matter. It's like Michigan being unranked playing Ohio State. Something's going to go on each and every time, regardless, just because of, that beef that they have.
Right.
With that being said, to score 19 unanswered points in the fourth quarter is unacceptable. It's unacceptable, especially, like you said, you were dominating the game. I compare this play, this coaching, to what I always get mad at, prevent defense. You ran a prevent offense. That's what you did. You ran a prevent offense the whole fourth quarter. Yeah, like let's just change everything that we've been doing.
Yep.
And let's just try to waste the clock. Well, no, that's not going to happen. And even if you're running that type of offense, don't you think you should start changing up once they score the first touchdown or they do this and that? Yes. Like when the game starts getting close, don't you think you should get back to the original game?
Yes.
At some point. That's what kills me. When you sit back, whether it's prevent offense or prevent defense, and I'm like, how do you just give people 10 to 15 yards? How do you just, like, this is unheard of to me. It shouldn't happen. Yeah, that's what you did. You did the opposite of a prevent defense. You did a prevent offense, and it came and got you. You know what it kind of reminded me of? Atlanta in the Super Bowl.
It was
that's what it reminded me of.
Exactly. Exactly.
You didn't lose this one, but that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. But
you just
a better team wins, and that's the concern. A better team beats Miami in that game. The way they played, you're gonna cost yourself a game. To your point, the way you coach, you go up against Ohio State. Hell, they could have went up against Oregon because Oregon, first of all, the line is they always have a really good line. You get out coached when you start doing dumb stuff like this. What you got, Gary?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna piggyback off of something you just said there that shouldn't have anything to do with it. Potentially could have something to do with it when you talk to conspiracy theories. You said the line. You got those people out in Vegas might be hitting buttons. It's a lot of money that you talked about earlier that's running through here. So potentially, never want to joke around.
What was that line, man? What was that line? Do you know?
I don't even know what the line was for that game yesterday.
I can tell you it wasn't 25 points. So, there was something with that.
That's true.
No, but you can spot on though. Definitely some of the more conservative aspect of it. And then the problem with that, though, once you start going conservative, it's very hard with some of these players to say, all right, now flip the switch. Now we're going to play more aggressive, right? And so once they make that decision as a coach to say, now we got a game in hand, we're not going to do anything else, we're good. To piggyback to go back to that Penn State game, UCLA almost lost that game too because they were like, oh, well, we got this game in hand, and here comes Penn State.
Yeah.
Oregon, last week, same thing. Oregon had the game in hand, and they allowed Penn State to slowly but surely come back in that fourth quarter, go to overtime, almost lost the game. So it definitely goes to a point to where if you're going to be aggressive, stay aggressive the entire time until it's all zeros on the clock.
Do what got you there.
You're going to have these results. And it happens in the NFL too. I think that a lot of coaches kind of get in their head to think that they're smarter and they don't want to be predictable. And then by trying not to be predictable, they become predictable. Right. So it's just a certain circumstance of that nature, I think.
Yeah. And I see they still didn't hit the line because the line was 4.5 as far as Miami. So it was close. It's getting there.
Yeah. Right. Let's go into something, man, that it still involves football. And we'll just see what the conversation goes. So over the weekend, think you've been if you're tapped into football like we're doing in stories like this, it wasn't national news, but if you're a fan of the sport, things like this coming. So over the weekend, the attorney for Kyron Lacey, who passed away back in April, came out with some information that, let's call it what it is, it completely debunks everything that was said regarding what happened the night that a 78-year-old man, Herman Hall, was killed in an accident that was firstly reported. This happened back in December of 24. That was said to have been caused by Kyron Lacey. And 2 days before his trial, because he was actually facing negligent homicide, felony hit and run with death, reckless operation of a vehicle, and which he surrendered to police in January. So in April, his trial's coming up. This is right before the draft. I remember when we got the information. He led the police on a chase, and I don't even remember how the chase started. I feel like it was something that was domestic, and he led him on a chase, and he ended up eventually crashing. They pulled him from the car. It's reported that he pulled him from the car with allegedly a gunshot wound to the head, and he died on the scene. The video that his attorney put out completely shows that Kyron Lacey was not at fault for this accident at all. At all. Also, body camera footage came out of the officer who was telling the other person who was involved in the accident, not the person who passed away, what to say. Pretty much just coaching a witness. Also, what this is, there was another person in the car with Kyron Lacey that was never questioned at all. This happened in December. He was headed for the draft. Of course, his draft stuff, all the stuff got pulled. And it was a very horrible story because he had been painted at this person. And now we get this almost a little less than a year later, which calls into question everything that has been said about this, whether you believe in conspiracy theories or not. It's one thing if he had caused the accident, and then let's say it was reported as vehicle malfunction or something like that, but then they would find out, no, he was actually intoxicated, something like that, which is not the case. This was something that, looking at the video, hey, just pull the video. I had nothing to do with this. But this shows that this information was intentionally buried. For whatever reason, it was buried, which to me also calls into question the fact when they pulled him out of the vehicle, it calls into question the self-inflicted gunshot wound. I'm just gonna say what it is. It calls everything into question. And I don't know who was supporting him outside his family. His attorney was said, hey, look, I won't rest until the truth comes out for that. But, LSU didn't seem to be behind him. I'm not sure if his agent was in part of it. He wasn't in the league, so he didn't have no team to support him. This whole situation is just shit, man. I want to get you guys feedback and take from this. It's really a situation that pisses me all the way off. But what you guys got, man?
I'll be pretty short on this because you stated it correctly. You live in a nation that is guilty until proven innocent. That's the only way I can sum it up. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. It's just that it's on a much bigger stage than the regular. And when it's like that, and you have what he had to lose, the mental factor also comes into play too. Whether that happened in the car, let's play it to the fact of if he did shoot himself. Okay.
Yeah.
What caused it?
Causation.
You see what I'm saying? And that's the part you got to really think about. No matter what happened, think about this.
Yeah.
The lifestyle of an athlete, 9 times out of 10, I'll say 9.5 times out of 10, you're not going to have the person that just pops in there from a couple years ago and jumps into the game and is a star like a Giannis. Okay. Most of the time, this is from 3-4 years old, and you've been doing this for your whole life. Your family's been behind you, supporting, doing this, taking you to practices, traveling all around the state. Now you're traveling all around the nation. You're giving up your childhood. You know, there's a lot of sacrificing that is going on between everybody that's involved to get to a point where now you're in college and you're performing on that high of a level. And now you got eyes on you. And now you got people reporting on you, everything down to social media posts and things like that, and who you're dating and what did you eat and all these type of things. It's not an easy world.
Yeah.
Then for this to happen, and then the world just crashes around you overnight. No pun intended. The world crashes around you overnight, and you see everybody second guessing you. Your team, your school, maybe even family members, people that you trusted in. People going, man, we brought you all this way, and now, this ain't gonna happen. Think about that. So, you know, we talk about mental health and things like that all the time. We also got to just tap into the fact of, you know, the hardships of living that type of lifestyle. There's a lot on the line, and when things are reported and put out there, that's why I think about even today, coming into today. Shawn, I sent you the thing about Mark Sanchez, but what did I put with it? I said, hey, none of this stuff is verified yet. I just know something happened with Mark Sanchez, right? That's how I sent it to you. And then a couple hours later,
they sent it yesterday. Yeah, they sent it yesterday.
Then it opened up to, and we'll get to it, but then it opened up to what we're going to discuss. If I just went off of my TMZ thought, and oh, somebody attacked, you get what I'm saying? So it's the guilty until proven innocent effect. And it traps our mind. That's what it is, because it's the hot story. It's the way we want it to go. The drama of it. You get what I mean? It's what we live for. That's why just in regular TV, drama. Everybody watching Real Housewives and stuff. For what? Not for them to get along, for drama. Like, this is what it is. So when I go back to this,
man,
I just want to paint the picture of more than just his story, just the story of athletes in general. And I can change it from athletes. You take anybody's profession that been studying whatever all their lives and say they get to a point where everything is just roadblock right in front of them. Boom. This is it. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And this is what it is. So I feel for his family. I definitely feel for him. I saw Malik Neighbors put up a post showing a picture of them hugging. Because remember, on the same team. You know, it's just tough.
Yeah, CJ Daniels from Miami. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. What you got, G?
So Dave started off saying he'll keep it short. I'm going to actually keep it short.
Sorry.
No, I mean, once you start talking, you start realizing there's so many different.
Yeah, it was deep.
Sure. I'm going to start off by saying, you know, when you read the story and everything of that nature, and you realize that the circumstances that led to the alleged self-inflicted gunshot wound drag out, you start wondering how the family member, because it all supposed to start out with a family member dispute, domestic dispute, and then he went off with that. So how does that family member feel? Like, where are they at right now? So that makes you think about that. You're right about this whole instant gratification, all these news reports that come out here. It's not really about like validating it. It's about who's first to tell you something, and then later we'll come out and tell the story about it. With what we have witnessed through our 20, 30, 40 plus years of living out in this world, and obviously history tells us even more, like, it's not a surprise that this kind of thing came up, especially down in Louisiana. And the gravity of how everything transpired, it's hard not to feel that there's some type of collusion going on, because it's too easy to have pulled that video right away. He ain't involved. NFL, y'all got all this money. Y'all got all these investigators. I know y'all already had a tape to say that this man wasn't guilty. So why would y'all even allow this to go through with this? ESPN, Fox Sports, all these large networks, y'all put all this money to invest to make sure things are good. After the fact, surely y'all have somebody had access to that tape longer than a year before, like right now, right? So there's some type of collusion perhaps that's going on with that, which is just sad. but it's also, again, not surprising. We could any minute, any day, type in a certain search algorithm, and we're going to find out some gentleman of a darker complexion got pulled over, gun pulled to him. I think I saw a story pop up the other day with a guy who had a gas pump handle, and the cop pulled a gun on him, right? And so these situations happen so often to where you kind of get numb to it, but it's also just sad. And so to figure that Kyron Lacey, without knowing all the details, but the way everything's being painted out, that there was some collusive effect to get him pretty much taken from his dreams, and then that potentially affected his mental to where we ended up where we were. And now we're trying to go back and say, oh, by the way, you know, everything was all good, this, that, and the third. It's just very unfortunate. Not to make a knock at you on Warner, but again, with that thing, it's like, oh, well, he allegedly can't swim well enough and he died out this way. But now his wife came out, or his mother came out, like, no, that's not true. Like, there's more to it. So every time you hear these stories, we always have to, like you did with Mark Sanchez, take a pause, like, but what really happened? What's really going on?
Yeah.
Because we could definitely have the story of, oh, Mark Sanchez got stabbed. It's crazy out here in these streets in Indianapolis. But then it's like,
and that's how it went. That's how it was initially reported.
Yes.
I guess that can kind of lead you into that unless you add something.
But yeah.
Right.
So, you know, rest in peace, Kyron Lacey, with everything with that nature. But it's just
well, before we get into that, because we're on that side there. Yeah. Yeah. We can go right in. We can pivot, man, from that right into Mark Sanchez. And I didn't have his thing typed in there for some reason, even though I knew we were going to talk about it. So Mark Sanchez was out in Indianapolis. He was going to be covering the Indy and
Raiders.
Who are they playing today? I forget. They're playing Indy
and Raiders.
Who are they playing today? I forget.
Raiders.
And he was going to be on the Fox broadcast. And am I on delay? My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
And it was initially reported that he was stabbed. And what I read earlier was he had he had pepper sprayed the individual, and then the person that stabbed him, or he was trying to pepper spray and stabbed or something like that. I'm reading. I'm like, all right. And Dave sent it to me. I was like, dang, that's crazy. A little bit after that, maybe a little bit later last night, look up there, Mark Sanchez has been charged, and he was arrested on 3 counts of, like, one of them was trespassing in the vehicle there. I think he was drunk as well. I'm like, what the hell happened? But to your point, it's out there. It got presented with this, you know, whoever wanted to break the story first. And now you're looking at best, you got some misdemeanors on your hand. And you got stabbed. That's the bad part. You got stabbed, and right. And you know, this is Fox Sports, so ain't no telling if they're gonna keep him on the broadcast or not. You know how that should go. But what you guys take on this, man? Like, it was now at least not for this guy. I mean, in general, like his contract with Fox Sports, you see, they didn't keep
unless y'all know on the story. Jay, send that to me, because I'm not sure specifically what you're talking about for the Marine one. So text me that one. On the Mark Sanchez side, just like I kind of led into, you know, the reports came out, and you could see it immediately being painted as him being the victim and something going on out there, and got stabbed after so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. He was attacked and pulled out pepper spray and all this other type of stuff. But what did they do? They went to the tapes. They went to the tapes, and they could see evidently, like,
is he stuck?
I think he is stuck. I thought it was just me this time. So yeah. So y'all pick it up what Dave left off.
Like, wait.
I thought it was me. But yeah, man, they went to the tape and they were easy. Yeah, they were easily able to get the information. But yeah, that was and again, like Jay, I think you just coming in. That wasn't even his crash. So, like, I don't know if you missed the first part. That he had nothing to do with that crash. That was the person in front of him. So that's been proven. And that's the thing. Going back to that, that's the thing right there, that they leaned into that part. The fact that it was a Marine. It was a Marine, and they leaned into that aspect. So you got that sympathy thing going on, which we are very sympathetic to our veterans, our active duty and stuff like that, but they use that only to find out he had nothing to do with the crash.
Nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with that. So so it was like, hey, we got to find somebody who's responsible for this. And he just happened to be conveniently one. And what they led into that was the fact that, hey, he was, we acknowledged that he was kind of like driving recklessly a little ways back, but he got back in his lane, and then that had nothing that just happened to be a coincidence. But yeah, Dave, you were saying they pulled the tape, and they were able just to show that, Mark, you're under arrest. Can you imagine? Because he was drunk, so he probably been passed out as well. He even got stabbed, he didn't realize it. So you sitting in the hospital bed, he might have went to sleep or whatever. They were repairing him, and you wake up, you want to move your arm. You seen it in movies. You go to move your arm, and you handcuffed to the bed. And a cop walks in and said, Mr. Sanchez, yes, you're under arrest. Wait a minute. I got stabbed. Sir, you were the one who instigated this. The guy was protecting himself. Do you not recall any of this? And then it's like, I need to talk to my lawyer.
It's not an excuse, but it was probably a blackout moment, to be honest with you. Because it's sounding like he was trying to get into whoever's car. As if it was.
Yeah. I don't know what he was drinking. Yeah, he did. I don't know what he. Yeah,
somebody else.
But was it an Uber Lyft? Was it a ride share?
I don't know. I haven't seen that part of it. But whatever it is, it was evident up on that camera to be able to get him. So,
and that's what made me think it was a ride share, just because to have the film, a lot of the Uber Lyfts, they out there, got the camera in there just to save themselves. So, that could be the situation there. So when I first heard the story, my first question was, I was trying to figure out what time it was. And then I was like, well, was he out and about, or was he at home? Like, was this something domestic related, or was this out in the streets? Things going on. That information wasn't ready yet. So eventually, as you said, you give it time, more meat comes to the story, and it's like, oh, all right, Mr. Sanchez, I guess they got you. And then 3 hours later, it's like, by the way, he's arrested. Not charged. Let's be clear. Like, so he's still, although if it's the other way around, we know it's guilty. It's always innocent until guilty, but right now everybody's running with the fact that he's guilty, and the story is just being pressed, which I would definitely, I can't advise ABC and ESPN anything, but they probably should get away from trying to just put these stories out so fast and wait for the things to actually grow and get the teeth, because you have so many people who are just going to take that story and forget about everything else after. Like, just pro Mark Sanchez for this, and it's going to be like all these people like, oh, well, now we see what really happened. Bullshit this, bullshit that. So I don't know. Feel bad for the circumstance of it. Definitely probably was a blackout. Hopefully in the end, again, it's all misdemeanors. So it'll go from that point. But whether he keeps his job at Fox, who knows? Yeah. Fox keeps a lot of interesting people there.
Speaking of blacking out. Oh, this is about to get interesting. So, remember when we were talking about them 600,000 emails, a couple of seasons ago that were found, but they only pulled like 3 from it for John Gruden and Bruce Allen, the former GM of my then Washington Redskins. And it had some really damaging stuff in there. Him having a back and forth with former union executive or whatever, D. Smith, and him talking about Goodell. And I mean, John just went in, like, you talking about having a blackout moment. He was just, he was keeping it 100. But the biggest thing we had said at the time, he said things, hey, I'm losing my job. I'm pretty much being blackballed out of the NFL, if you will. Where's the rest of the emails? Because I won't email my damn self. I didn't email myself 600,000 times. And I think that number is pretty accurate. I feel like it sticks out because I feel like it was like 620-some thousand emails, which is a lot of emails. Currently in my Gmail box, I probably got like spam. It's probably like 30,000 emails. I'm trying to clear it out. That's 600,000 emails. But in any case, so a Nevada Supreme Court rules in favor of John Gruden, and the ex-coach, he can take his NFL lawsuit to court, to trial. which means he now is able to get discovery, which means now there's a lot of people who backsides just got tight. And I expect within the coming weeks that there will be a very large disclosed or undisclosed settlement, because the NFL don't want that. There's been talks of collusion and stuff like that for the longest time, which has been clear. Whether it's been they even talked about the suppressing the salaries of Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow after the Deshaun Watson guarantee one. We all know what Cap was talking about, the collusion to keep him out of the league. It's a lot of stuff that happens, man. And a lot of stuff that was shared in those emails. Even the same thing with Daniel Snyder. That stuff there, yes, the shit he was doing was bananas, but there's a lot of stuff with Jerry Jones. You saw what happened with Richardson back in the day. He ended up losing the Carolina Panthers. They've also talked about the former owner, of the Arizona Cardinals, or is he still the current owner? I can't even remember at this point. It's a lot of stuff happening. And now the NFL is at risk of, for the first time, really having all their businesses laid out there. And I don't see them being who they are. I don't see that happening. Somebody about to open up a wallet and be like, hey, let's bury all this now. But here's the question, because he's already in the media. He's still around football. I love watching John Gruden talk about football. It's insane. But does he get back into the NFL? That's the question.
Yes, because he's probably the Giants' next head coach. But so that's pretty easy to answer. And I'm saying that jokingly, but not at the same time, because check the video. He loves Jackson Dart. So they had a real good connection.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about quarterback whisperers. He's another one that is known for that. So that will be easy one to kind of put there. We spoke about this a lot throughout the years of the whole email gate came out, because he was a scapegoat, hands down. I'm not saying he wasn't part of the emails, but you're not talking to yourself. And if you feel, let's say I'm part of an email chat and I don't agree with what's going on heavily to the fact of how this whole email chat was supposed to be going, it lasted for years between multiple people. Get out.
Yeah.
Don't be part of the chat. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of people were part of that chat. But the only person that went down was John Gruden. So that's where I always say, you know what? We may never find out everybody that was in on that, but someone's getting paid. You can use me as a scapegoat,
absolutely.
But guess what? Guess what? I'm not going quietly. Remember, that's the whole thing that was going on with your old owner. They were trying to get him out and couldn't get him out. And he was like, all right, well, make me press this button, because I'll press this button.
I'll burn this whole mofo down.
Yeah.
So, and see, to your point, stay right there, Dave. They knew that. So what they did, and there's still some slash it. So at the time that Daniel Snyder, and I'm not going to go too far on that, but Daniel Snyder, he did not have full ownership of the team. He had his minority partners and stuff like that. So what the NFL did was they gave him almost like $1 billion. It was like 990 million or something, some crazy number like that, for him actually to buy the rest of the ownership into the team, which they paid off the minority owners. And then once they had it all in place, so now he's 100%. Now they went around, they buried a lot of those information, because if a lot of stuff had come out, it would have lowered the selling price for the Commanders at the end of the day. So I
remember when the government got involved and was saying that it had to be revealed.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yep. All that stuff come out. And then of course, it goes for, 6 billion or whatever, 6.5 or something like that. And they get him out of there, because even then, as he parted out, the last moment, the last day that he was supposed to hand the keys. There's literally keys they have to hand over. He didn't want to do it, because even though he was in the Raw, and he was with I forget the one of his confidants, and they said we had to convince him, hey man, look, take the money. They going, you're making out on this. Even as bad as a person this man was or whatever, even that point, he was like, but I ain't the only one. Like, that's the thing. He was like, I'm about to take a $6.5 billion check and I'm gonna pay back the $1 billion or something to the league, whatever. But so $5 billion, I'm still up. But he was still like, yeah, I got it. But it ain't just me.
It's
like he always, was, hey, look, bro, it won't just be. It is. It is. I was finishing the rest of Dave's statement for a second there. What's your take, G?
So we have to remember, though, we're right now in October. This is strike 2 for the NFL. If you recall, back in August, Brian Flores' case, the court decided that they can actually push that on the trial. So
that's
now
also,
you got
I think, part of these emails as well.
Yes, you got the racial discrimination with Brian Flores. His team probably up here clapping real loud, like, all right, we really go ahead discovery out here with this other 650,000 emails, which y'all really want to do. So Brian Flores is still coaching right now, right? So he's with I think he's with the Vikings, now to think about it.
Yeah, Minnesota,
I think that his team is really excited about what else can come out of here, because now with that larger case, quote unquote larger case going, the NFL is probably going to be looking to cut all type of deals. So like, all right, you're right. Sorry, here's some money, hush money this, hush money that, but it's going to be real crazy real soon. And there might be more lawsuits. People are going to feel more empowered to stand by it. Because I think the most recent case, probably before all this, Brandon, with the concussions, right? So
yeah, it was. That was the most prevalent one. Was the
NFL to switch everything up. And I'm pretty sure there was some money paid out, but they also changed the way they did some things. So the Rooney Rule be damned. There's going to be some changes coming out eventually.
Yeah, I did it. We'll keep it going. Look, I said I won't have no tech issues today, and I think I gave that juju to Dave today. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure. Let's stay on this same, since we're talking about Jon Gruden, man. One of the biggest things I saw, he was the most passionate about football. And I'm paraphrasing. I saw a video and he was talking about injuries. The injuries in the league, man. He was just like, don't nobody practice no more. He said, I'm sick. He was like, I'm just pissed off. He said, I'm pissed off because no one's playing. They don't practice. You can barely practice. Everyone's getting injured. Everyone's in the weight room. And now you're seeing, I can almost imagine a record amount of injuries this season. The first thing I saw before we got on was the fact that Dave's Malik Neighbors, as Giants wide receiver, of course, he had a bad injury there towards ACL, some other ligaments there. But then it was also said that he was also had a torn labrum and turf toe that he's been playing with since he left college. I'm like, God, which is interesting, because remember, another one of Dave's guys on Michigan, Matthew, what's his name? I almost called McCarthy. What's his first name? From
JJ?
Michigan. JJ McCarthy. I said Matthew McCarthy. JJ McCarthy. Remember, he got drafted and come to find out he had an injury. He had an injury, and that misses almost his first season, which something that they caught. So now, but that being the case, the number of injuries this year, significant injuries. We just saw what happened with Tyreek. I mean, major injuries, man, is insane. And the question is, man, again, we sit on the sideline, so we don't know. Do they need to rethink the training habits for these guys? Because this can't be it. This can't be it. Joe Burrow's out again. Yeah, man, like, what is it? It's from your point of view. Either one of you.
I think Gary was just speaking, but I think
I was gonna say, I was with the Lions last year. Injuries was huge, right? So injuries is what kept us from, I like to believe, kept us from actually doing what we should have done last year. Even though we got a little bit healthier when it came to the playoffs and that unfortunate demise against that other team around these corners. But I did pull some stats, just kind of trying to see how the injury rates look this year as compared to last year. And so when I did that, right now they talk about 16 notable players are injured, according to some websites. And that's obviously your Malik Neighbors and things of that nature. But when you really dive into it, as far as injured reserve, pup list, things of that nature, last year for the entire season, it was 596 cumulative for the season across all 32 teams. So that's about, take 18 games, you're talking about 33 injuries per week, essentially. This year, right now, we're at 326 cumulative through 5 weeks of injuries, right? And so if we extrapolate that out, we're talking about right now about 65 and a half injuries per week across all the teams, as compared to last year being, again, at 33. You can't truly extrapolate it out over the 18 weeks because that's going to tell you, like, oh, we're going to have 1,200 injuries. But that's not going to be the case because that'd be the entire league. But if we just look at that differential about the fact that it's about 65 injuries across all the teams on IR or some type of notable injury, the ratio just keeps increasing. Very difficult to find. Right? The NFL does not want this information out there for everybody to locate. You definitely got to do some digging and some self-calculations. But yeah, the injuries are definitely up. The significant injuries are up. But again, stronger, faster players. Could be less practice, but does that mean if they practice, have more preseason games, they're going to get injured sooner? Don't know. It's a tough game. It's a hard game. Injuries are part of it. It's just unfortunate the volume to the most impactful players. And of course, most people are only caring about the fantasy. Like, oh man, Lamar Jackson, he's out with his hamstring. Now I'm going to lose my fantasy, man. Yeah, but I mean, man, is still a man. He's out here. His money ain't messed up because he got guaranteed contracts to some degree. But the fact that all these significant injuries are picking up, and some of them are happening in the same stadiums, which start to make you wonder about how those stadiums are being designed and built, like with the turf and the grass and the cement under there, and causing some of these harder injuries out in New Jersey.
So I'm glad you ended on that. So let me pick up where you just left off. The Giants and Jets should never play a home game again. It is the worst stadium to play on. Why they didn't build it better, I guess we'll get to it. But yeah, it is what it is. The second part of that is, should they practice more? Should there be more this, more that? I've always said, especially with some of these rules that have been added, you think that you're thinking about safety, but you're really not. We broke down the whole thing as far as the QB thing of how people come in and tackle and everything. It's not reasonable. Like it can't be done. You're telling me to change what I've learned all the way up to that point to now tackle the quarterback, but not. So it's the weirdest thing ever to me. I think the biggest thing is what Gary just started to hit on, which is also the money that's surrounded by it. You know, we can laugh all we want about it. Fantasy and betting and all these type of things, that drives the sports revenue. It hands down does. So when you sit back and you look at people going like myself on a fantasy side of things who drafted Joe Burrow and then this happened. You get what I mean? And then drafted a JJ with him as a backup. And then this happens. And then these are big players going out. Lamar out. All these type of people. While you're thinking about them, it's the money around it too. It is. It's a commodity. It just is what it is. And it changes everything. So much so, FanDuel had to add in this year, in case you don't know, they had to add into theirs some type of rule within their betting where somebody gets hurt in the first quarter, like they'll cancel them out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how you know how many injuries. The betting side of things is going, hey, we'll give you like a mulligan in golf. Like, hey, we know you picked this person, but hey, we see that they're out. Let's keep the bet going, but let's kick this person to the side. That's how you know this injury thing is really sparking up there, because a lot of people were arguing like, hey, this person was on the roster, but like they hardly played. They didn't even like, this is what happened. They pulled Aaron Rodgers, came in, walked up to the line, and it was over. Like, how do I lose this? So yeah, it's one of those things that they're gonna have to get together. I mean, it's never gonna be no injuries. You play in a sport that is surrounded by them. But I think there's certain things that are a little bit more logical than others of how they approach it. And Gruden did say it right. Like, when you practice not to practice, you're not going to be ready for the game, regardless. Think about it. I can go through my own team, and I'm seeing Giants players that don't practice each and every week. Dexter Lawrence doesn't practice pretty much the whole week for this whole season. I see an injury coming. You get what I mean? So yeah, you're being preventative, but if you got to be that preventative, you just shouldn't play. Just shouldn't play.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, we all know the body is not meant for what we do to it. Like the body was not built for
Especially
you
Sunday to Thursday.
to run upwards. Yeah, upwards to 22, 23. I don't know what the fastest speed for anyone in the league, maybe like 23 miles an hour. I think this might have been maybe a little bit more. But anyway, that's a lot running. For you running that fast and for someone to hit you, pads or no pads. But at the same time, when you're playing football, there's a certain callus that you have to build up. And that comes through practice. A lot of the players, and I hate, not saying that it happened because of that, but I don't know. Terry McLaurin missed all of the all season. Yes, he was training and stuff like that. Had a great catch against wasn't the Giants. It was against the second team that they also, not Green Bay. It was a team after that. The Raiders, I believe that's the Raiders game. And laid out for it. And he landed. Laid out for it. He kind of landed on the other players, like laid on me there, but he ended up having a quad injury. Think about it like this. Let's say my dad was a working man, as your dads were as well. My dad was a carpenter and such. Hands like leather. Over the years, he had built up a callus to where, it's there. I watched that man one time, literally, a screw that he stripped on the Phillips head. He couldn't get it out. He unscrewed it with his fingers. You know what type of strength and callus you have to unscrew a screw? Not from it was like in there. So things, and I said all that because a lot of these guys, they doing a lot of weightlifting and stuff like that, but it ends up leading to an injury because your body is not flexing. Santana Moss, who played for the Redskins, he also played for Miami. He used to have a lot of issues with his hamstrings, and he said the thing that ended up helping him there, he ended up taking up Taekwondo. Because it helped him with his flexibility, which in turn ended up helping him with his hamstrings, and it ended up prolonging his career. Because a while we were losing him, left and right. Like for the they say now for a lot of the kids, have them do multiple sports, and if they're that type of athlete, if they're playing football, have them run track, maybe play basketball. That way, their bodies are able to kind of be able to be flexible and stuff like this. Is why, and I asked before we got on, there's injuries that happen in college. But these kids a lot of them, our kids, are a lot younger, haven't taken those type of hits like that. But you don't see as many injuries, at least that from what I can tell, that you see in the league. Like it just seems like, and there's more teams in college. But, that number could be skewed because we have, 32 teams here. But it's crazy to watch. And to your point, Dave, yes, no one should be allowed to play on MetLife Field because that is horrible. But they are changing that to grass for the World Cup. They are changing that to grass for the World Cup, which if you can do that for the World Cup, you should do that for your two NFL teams as well. You should. I don't see what the problem is. I don't understand what the problem is.
It ain't the money. So.
Yeah, it definitely not. Isn't it? You ever try to go to a Giants game? Insane. Insane. Look at the chat, guys. He's like, yeah, Turpin is stupid fast. Let's get into a tag me in, man. And whatever's on your mind, whatever's grinding your gears, I got one. I'm pretty sure you guys have one there. But today, tag me in be a little bit different. It's brought to you by somebody or something. Now, let's go to tag. There was a delay. I hated that. Today's tag me in, man, is brought to you by something that I had to tie this into it because this is part of the Hot Seat podcast, but it is brought to you by Shawn Xavien, WRC, Kaleos, Give Me Some Space, which is actually available on October 7th everywhere. Who wants to go first? Who will be tagged in first?
You got it.
I'll go with it. So, Roger Goodell, today, right now, there's a London game happening right now, which the last time I saw the score, it was 14-10, Minnesota. And the NFL and Roger Goodell, they have it on their mission to make sure that there is an international game every week. Each team is going to have the opportunity to play an international game. That's what they're looking for them to grow the game. While I understand you're trying to grow the game, though, but you're also looking at is the travel, and we were talking about college, and we know they travel a lot better on the NFL side. But you're talking about traveling to Madrid, London, Ireland, Germany. I know they travel down to Mexico and whatever else they think. I'm surprised they haven't shown up in Japan yet. It's some other places coming. And we're talking about injuries. At what point, for me, it's like, is enough? Like, because there's no, for the longest time, we thought the Jacksonville Jaguars going to end up being the London Jaguars. I don't know if that's still on the table or not. But what's the end game? Are we really trying to grow the game like that? Or is it them just tapping into markets? Because I haven't seen many outside of the Pacific Islanders and some folks from Australia, which is another place they may be traveling to. This is becoming a lot because you got the guys flying short week. That means short practice, flying 8, 9, 10-hour flights, perhaps, to play a game. In some places that the fields aren't, we talk about MetLife. Some of those fields haven't been good for them either. They're in places where they tell them, hey, just stay in your hotel because it's not safe around here. Things like that. I ain't really on board for all this. And also the Saudi, the Saudi Public Servants Fund, or whatever that's called, they also have bought into a lot of the teams. So don't be surprised if we have a game for them playing out in Saudi Arabia or the UAE in the next couple of years as well. But
NBA's already out there.
Any feedback on that before the next tag me in? Yeah, it's crazy.
I'll say that I think
we got to tag me in.
Not a tag in, but just to piggyback off of what you just said with the international games. If we recall, like there was an NFL Europe all throughout the 90s, like all the way up until mid 2000s. So I feel like this is is them trying to get back to that maybe, and then perhaps having a continental league. And if they go that route, so basically right now they're giving them a taste of what the NFL is, or how it should be, and then again just having this newer, NFL Europe again. We're going to have an NFL, maybe Australia, and the NFL Asia, and then kind of grow that to its point to where now it's like you have your champions of all those. Now who's going to be the whole world champion type thing? If it kind of goes to that route, we talk about something that's more entertaining, but the fact of having these 32 teams travel across the pond, if you will, to play these games. Yeah, it's definitely a gear grinder for sure.
So my tag me in will kind of add on to this. So tag me in. All right.
I got you.
I know he's on delay. Yeah, I know he's on delay. All right. So with the tag me in that I have, I kind of spoke about it earlier. Same type of way as far as the traveling across seas and stuff like that. I love football. Love it to death, especially NFL. And this is not going to happen because of the money that's involved, especially with now Prime. But I don't need Thursday night football, bro. I don't need it. While I love football, and some people might get mad at me for this statement, I don't need it because it's surrounded by what we've been discussing. You say you're in there for the quality of the game and as far as the safety of the players and all that type of stuff, there's absolutely no way that you can play a game on Sunday and your body is even halfway recovered to play a game Thursday night. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. Just think about it. It can't happen. So you ever think about when people sit back and go, yeah, the quality of the Thursday night games and stuff like that. I don't care who's playing. Like, it's not going to be right. And even if that goes right, that very next game is probably not going to be right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just setting you up right. It's going to set you up for failure, man. And some of this scheduling, when you look at it, the way it's set up for some of these teams, when you see somebody play on a Sunday and then you got a Thursday game and then you got to come, like, I'm like, did you look at your own scheduling when you put this together? Did you at all pay attention to the scheduling? Because there's no way you can do this.
Right.
So yeah, I know it kind of feeds into everything we've been discussing about, but yeah, it's just weird to me. While I love football and I love the NFL, I don't need a Thursday game, man. It's not going to happen because they got the Prime contract and all that. It's not going to happen. Money rules it all. But don't feed me into the sense of, quality of play and safety this and safety that, and these are the measures. And then you do the exact opposite. Oh, safety, let's extend the season. oh, safety, let's travel around the world.
Let's go 18 games.
Let's play on Thursdays. Oh,
right.
Safety. Like it's not for safety. We all know that it's money. Whatever way we can get money, we're gonna figure it out. If y'all gotta play on damn near swampland, we're gonna build a stadium on it and we're gonna figure it out. So that's it. Like it's bad, man.
And to your point, Dave, the majority of the time, the Thursday night games are not good. Like the majority are not. You get some here or there to be like, oh man, but a lot of times they are the worst. Like especially early season. As you get later in the season, you got playoff implications, but a lot of times they're not good.
Yeah, they stop them.
Say again.
I said that's by design, though, you would think, because they schedule the games that probably aren't as impactful to where if it is crappy, you ain't gonna be as upset about it. So have it on that day. That's
which is like stupid. Just don't do it. Yeah, just
you know what? Here's another thing. While we were talking about scheduling, added to the tag me in. Why are we playing divisional games like 1 week apart? The Giants play the Eagles this Thursday coming up. Then they play another game, and then we play the Eagles the next week. That makes absolutely no sense to me. It makes you can't spread this out.
Know, man.
But I think
divisional game.
It's the response. I think right now we're dealing with the response of people complaining beforehand about how the divisional games were later in the season. So they're like, all right, let's have it earlier in the season. So where you have the AFC West, they play
one of
all
them.
Three. The Chargers play all three of the teams in the first 3 weeks, right? So it's like, all right, now they probably play the rest in the end. I'm gonna tag in
Jay. And what? Hold on. Jay, it wasn't about them being good. No, they definitely been good. I'm just saying they definitely can't be recovered by that time period at all. So you're seeing more injuries and things like that. It's just it's not even about the gameplay. I just know that you're going to see more injuries in that sense.
Case in point, especially this way. You had Sunday, Washington played, I think the Giants. I think they played the Giants. We played you guys. That second we played Green Bay. So you played Sunday. That means you go out, you have a walkthrough on Monday, maybe Tuesday, something like that, whatever. And then Wednesday you're flying, unless you're flying early Thursday morning to go up to Green Bay to play that night. Bruh, ain't no way. And then it's like now you have I don't care what team it is, there's an unfair advantage because there's one team that's home. They don't have to move. Like that's not a I think there's a problem with that. I'm just saying it's weird. It's weird. What you got, G?
Yeah.
So it's 17-14, under 5 left in the game. Cleveland's winning right now.
Yep, looking at it now.
I'm gonna tag in on what's grinding my gears with regards to what you were just talking about. Have all the games, but why we gotta have a game on Prime, Peacock, NBC, CBS, Fox, Telemundo? Like you gotta get 15,000 apps in order to actually get it. Thankfully, I bowed down and got the Sunday ticket, so that definitely makes it a little bit easier. But my goodness, trying to find all the games, and then you got the Thursday night Prime games. Go to commercial. You would love to switch something real quick. Nah, you got to sit right there because you can't just switch over to your normal channel that you want to watch because you're stuck there. And then the other thing that kind of grinds my gears, like I was about to say Morgan Wallen, Darren Waller. He kind of came out of retirement. It reminds me about somebody else who told me they was going to retire and stop making music. And then we're sponsored right now in this section by somebody's newest album release. So I just tell you, it's just retirement is hilarious these days, bro.
It is hilarious. That's a good one.
Back to you.
We can end on that one, Gary.
I see what you did there, man. Real quick, man, since we just talk about it before we get into our game picks and everything else, we did have a Thursday night game, which was actually a pretty good game. 49ers at Rams. 49ers prevail 26-23. A 49ers team, speaking of injuries, they should call them the San Francisco IR because they had so many people actually on the injury list in this game. Mac Jones, the starting quarterback, is in there for their highly paid Brock Purdy. And Mac Jones looks very good in this. And while I don't always agree with some of the stuff that he says, because sometimes it just feels like he just says stuff to try to one up, or he just feel a little some type of way. I get it. Dan Orlovsky, bravo, sir. A couple of years ago, watching, I think Sunday countdown or first take or get up or something like that, he made the comment that if Mac Jones was in the 49ers system, he will be just as good at Brock Purdy. And I forgot coach, the defensive coordinator, and was a former head coach for the Jets. I forget his name. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Pretty much just lost his mind. And no, that was right. Mac looked pretty good, bro. And it was not like some dump off passes. Mac Jones looks really, really good. Kyle Shanahan can build a quarterback to do what he needs him to do. But all of the injuries and stuff to San Fran and the Rams team who can't get out of their own way for some reason. What's your feedback on this, man? Like, one, are the 49ers legit? And can the Rams get out of their own way? That's a two-part question.
So, are the 49ers legit? Too soon to tell. I mean, it's still only 4 weeks to play. I think the circumstances kind of just landed in their way to get what they need to get.
Yeah.
But it's something that Dave said earlier. When you have those divisional games, those rivalry games, you can throw out everything out the window. So injuries are not next man up. They play hard. Did the Rams go to sleep on them thinking it's going to be a cakewalk because they had the 8.5-point spread, and that's why they went down 14-0? To where the game started off like, what are we watching? But then eventually got better towards the end. Who's to say? But Rams had every reason to win that game. Like,
they
get that ball punched out right there on the 1 yard line as you're about to go for the go-ahead score. Mind you got cold clock first, got punched in the face first. But
sometimes you got to punch him up, man.
Maybe he was slightly concussed and was like, "Oh damn, where Mag?" and dropped the ball. But then still come back and still almost have a chance to win a game. That was crazy. How that ended. Yeah. I would drop off today, but those technical difficulties still hitting in over there.
Yeah, I know. It's in there. It was the game was great. I guess on the San Fran side, and everything's just being weird at this point because I guess they don't like us on here on Football Talk. Like I said, Mac Jones, man, really has shown that he's the next example of, hey, if you play to the strengths of the quarterback, it might actually work out for you. And he's just the latest example. I know we had talked about Sam Darnold. Now, the question is, can they get over the hump in San Fran? But Mac Jones is probably playing his way. He's definitely, if he stays like this, he's playing his way to a new contract with somewhere else. Thing is that situation going to be as good as San Fran? More times than not, no, it's not. Unless some strange reason, he ends up landing in with the Rams because, Matthew Stafford, he ain't got much left. So that would be a good situation for a Mac Jones or something like that. Oh hell, he might end up in Minnesota. But what's your take? I asked you the same question, Dave. Go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick. So Mac Jones he was on Jacksonville last year when Trevor Lawrence went down, and he had high moments, but the low moments kept coming up way more to where it was like you're doing good, but then you find a way. You're the reason why we lose the game too, right? And so over here in San Fran, with this when he's playing, when you watch that game, he had some good points, but he also did some situations that could have had them lose that game. So they won by circumstance and opportunity because the Rams couldn't get out their own way, like you said earlier. So I would say we got to hold our reservations on Mac Jones until we see more to where he may not be that next Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield type of situation just because he's in San Fran. But
that's fair.
Dave, go ahead.
That's fair. Yeah. So Dave, my question to you was, are the 49ers for real? Are the 49ers for real? Because they're 3-1 right now. And can the Rams get out of their own way? Because we also saw this against the Eagles the week prior and the Eagles in the playoffs as well. So what's your take on that?
I'll go with the latter first. The Rams get out their own way. I don't know. To be very honest with you, I don't know. You have no idea what Rams team you're going to get each and every week. You have no idea. They could come out and you're like, man, this team, nobody wants to see them in the playoffs. And then the very next week, you're like, man, can we get the Rams? it's very crazy, and they have it there, man. Just break down their offense, and you're like, whoa, this is gonna be problems. Break down their young defense, and you're like, ooh,
yeah,
this is gonna be problems. You know, coach wise, respect the coach. You're like, ooh, this is gonna be problems. So, like, why is it not a problem? Because something's not right. And normally I can point at what it is. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, man. I know they had the costly fumble right there at the goal line. Kyron Williams got it stripped right there at the goal. But it's more than just that one play. You get what I mean? It's more than it reminds me, honestly, the Rams are the NFC Ravens, if y'all haven't said it already. It reminds me in a sense.
Now because
that's a good comp. I sit back and I look at the Ravens. Now there's some pieces missing on the Ravens. So I can easily just say this is the reason why. Injury-wise and just things that they don't have in place, period. Yeah. But I sit back and I say you shouldn't be having problems with this, though. No matter what's going on, you shouldn't have problems with this. And I'm not just saying that this season thing. I'm saying on a regular, like the Ravens, it's the playoffs thing. They just look totally different, and they're always in their own way. Yeah. On a Rams side of things, I just don't know. I can't pinpoint it. I have no idea. I'm looking at it, and it confused the hell out of me. I mean, think about it. Each and every week when we...
Oh, damn. Got him again.
It's all right. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it.
We're going to get
through it. I don't know what's happening today, guys.
I was going to ask him, but I'll ask you, Shawn, while we wait. Did you have a problem with that last play call?
Yes. And the reason I did, because I would have made an adjustment, because this is me. Of course, I'm putting my coach's hat on. Mm-hmm. They have a good idea that you're going to run the ball. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fake that action, have them run that ball, and then have, whether it's a tight end or somebody leak out, because they were right there. It was literally right there. Mm-hmm. I'm a leak a tight end right there to get that in there. That's what I'm going to do, because you've been setting them up the entire game. And sometimes, and then I think if you talk to coach, he said the same thing. He took the blame. He says a bad play call. It's a bad call. A bad decision by him, which I think he would, if he could, he would take that back, because he's one of the brightest play callers and play designers in the league. But that was one where I feel like you were being conservative, or you were just hoping that something was going to pop and get it through. And it just wasn't that just wasn't the one on there. So, I mean, sometimes the coach, man, you get into these moments and you just make gaffes. It's happened to me. You just feel in there, and hey, we've practiced this, it's going to work about this. But again, you're practicing against your defense. Mm-hmm. And then you're watching the film of the other defense and what they might do. But you got to think about it. You got guys, they are very good at what they do as well. Mm-hmm. And it just wasn't an option. I think right there, that last one, I would have adjusted that one.
Especially with the back-to-back timeouts with that too. So
yeah, it was just one of those things. It was kind of crazy. And on the San Fran side, I want to believe in them, but like, again, when it comes down to crunch time, backsides get tight with Kyle Shanahan. You see that far too often. And because, against your point, they could have lost that game as well. They could have easily have lost that game. Before we get into our picks or anything else there, circle back on something, because he is part of the league, as probably the greatest coach of all time. But we got to talk about it. Hey, Bill Belichick. And I think I probably spelled his last name wrong. I apologize.
Belichick.
Yeah, I did. I think that's how you actually spell it. I think you actually spell it that way. I think it got too many L's though. But I know it's first season in North Carolina. I get it. They're very, very underwhelming when it comes to talent. They were 2-2 going into that game against Clemson. How much time are we gonna give Bill Belichick on this before he leave college, and I don't think he's going to come back to the league unless there's a team that's like, yeah, we want to bring Bill Belichick back. But how long is this experiment happening, you think?
Well, he got what, 4-year contract?
Yeah, I mean, but they buy out people.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
But buy out for what though? Like again,
I mean,
you still have North Carolina. It's not like they're like a major staple powerhouse school, right? So,
no, football wise, basketball crazy, football something else.
Football. We're talking football specifically, right? So again,
right. Yeah.
Well, unless they're about to pull on a John Gruden in there or something like that, like they really aren't really talking about much with it. So
yeah,
he'll probably last out the majority of his contract, but maybe next year his recruits come in. He actually has some players to play with between this year or next year and the year after, and then he could be judged. You can't judge him based on coming in, taking over what was there before him, even with the transfer portal, which we didn't touch on, but obviously it's changes the transfer portal, which may or may not benefit the players going forward, the coaches going forward. So I don't know. I give him 2 years, 3 years minimum.
Does he bring in people like a la like a prime? Bring in people who can kind of like press the buttons of the young men, like bring in some of the his old NFL players and stuff like that to help, even if they're not full time. But you got Warren Sapp that's in Colorado now with prime and stuff like that. Do you bring in players like that who can kind of like almost like be relatable to them? Because Bill, Bill is Bill. He's not like he. I mean, but you see him on telecast and stuff like that. He does have a personality, but when it comes to coaching, he's rugged, man. Like he is still defense, effort, and stuff like that. But you're talking to 18 to 22, 23-year-old young men who they haven't seen you like that. They ain't seen you be successful in the league to their understanding for a while. The Patriots may not have been their favorite team.
Yeah.
So, what do you do in that regard?
Most likely not the favorite team, considering how much they were winning and the anti-Tom Brady's of it all.
Especially if they were an Atlanta fan or something like that.
That part right there, sir. That part right there. Yeah.
Giants fan, it might be a little different. It might be different. So we're going to find out and see what happens there. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's like UNC isn't that major. He's going to get a lot of pub there because of his name. But if it wasn't for him, you're not going to see UNC football talked about on whatever, debate show. It's all about the basketball team. That's something completely different there. Of course, man, you guys are watching live streaming the Football Talk. The Hot Tea Podcast presents Football Talk live, powered by DUBBY Energy, man. And we apologize. Today it's being weird today. Like everything's just being extra weird day. I don't know. It's a perfect day outside, and maybe Mother Nature was like, maybe you should be outside. But since we're talking about it, hey, make sure you guys go to dubby.gg. And for all of your energy drink needs, so no sugar means no jitters. That means no crash. Best in taste. People love it. And again, they love it so much, so they decided to partner with the Hot Tea Podcast. And if you put in the Hot Tea Podcast at checkout, you get 10% off your entire order. So make sure you go to dubby.gg, or you can put the link in the show notes. I'll post it as well. DUBBY Energy, Hot Tea Podcast, perfect marriage. I have my drink that I've been getting to right now. Keep the energy up. I know my fellow co-host here. He got his delivery in. Tell me, man, what's your first review on, how'd you do it?
It worked. No jitters, which is the biggest thing. So you hate the crashing aspect of it when you do some of these energy drinks. Yeah. So the fact that was definitely removed was great. Wild-eyed bushy tail was able to stay functional. You know what I mean? So that was just with the first flavor. So went ahead and ordered me 2 more tubs of nice. 2 different flavors that are downstairs waiting for me to pop into them. So we're gonna get the Sunday going and watch some sports and W up.
Love it up. Dubby.gg. As I'm trying to buy time before Dave come back, though, I know he said his laptop or something might be over. It looks like we got a 17-14 game, Browns up over the Vikings out in London. Let's look at the box score on this and see
Addison
what Dylan Gabriel did it. Ooh, okay then. Let's see what the box score looks like for this. If I can pull this up. Why is this being so weird right now? Let's see. The NFL site is sometimes very hard to navigate. I don't like how this is kind of weird. Oh, there we go. Stats. Carson Wentz, 25 of 34, 236 yards, sacked 3 times. No interceptions, though, which is good there. Jordan Madison, I see there, rushing for those guys. Justin Jefferson, 123 yards. I know he is loving that because, that's what he does. Dylan Gabriel, 17 of 30, 146 yards, 56% passing. A underwhelming 4.8 yards average, sacked twice, 2 touchdowns. Having not watched the game, I can't really give a good breakdown of what he looked like.
50-50. Well, he's had some good plays, definitely had some airmails throughout. Okay. The fact that the Browns defense just basically let the Vikings run down the field rather, and scored his last touchdown with 20 seconds left. It's going to be interesting to see, does Dylan Gabriel have his comeback moment? Like, does he have an opportunity to run down the field, 25 seconds left, and make a name for himself, or do the Browns
at least to tie it up? Yeah, at least to tie it up. I'm looking at.
Oh no, they can't tie it up. They got to score a touchdown. 20-17.
Cost it on there now, and we're gonna bring Dave back. He didn't move locations, but we're gonna bring him in just a second. There we go. He's back.
Got to switch it up.
Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, I think everything's over here.
Fair enough. It's a nice day outside. I told you, Mother Nature. Yeah, that's crazy. We're just buying some time in this case there. We were talking about Bill Belichick real quick and how long we're going to have to keep him down to UNC. He might be there for a little while. And then we're just talking about the actual Minnesota Cleveland game right now before we get into some picks. Anything before we show the stats for last week? This was a rough week last week, guys. It was a rough week, at least for the host of the show.
Me and Jay are good.
The guests did all right. So, yeah. This guy. Let's show some results, guys. For the record, Gary, the guy who didn't retire from music is responsible for the soundtrack of what you just watched. I just want to point that out. I'm just saying. So we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for the guy who did retire. Oh man, let's get into some picks here, man. I appreciate you guys tapping in with us again. Again, we already got Master Earl's picks on here, so we're gonna get it going. Let's see if we can get this over with for the technology. It was like, screw you guys. Texans, the Ravens. Yikes. Lamar Jackson is out. The Ravens got all types of injuries. The Texans got a quarterback that says like he's feeling a lot older than what he is. He is 23 years old. He said, I'm not as fast as I used to be. I may because he getting hit so much. I don't know. I feel like he needs to get out of Houston at this point. I don't know. Oh, man. They're playing in Baltimore. They have this should be a game where the Ravens overwhelm them with the running attack. But I don't think it's going to be the case. I'm going with the Texans in the upset.
I have the Texans, and I don't know if it's an upset technically with all these people out.
Mm-hmm.
And Earl has the Ravens.
True. Got you. For the sake of technology and everything else, guys, I'm going to try to bring the comments in there, but we're going to get right through the picks. Dolphins at Panthers. You saw they lost Tyreek Hill last week, and he looked like he was absolutely happy to get the hell up out of Miami. Playing the Panthers team that seemed like they still need a quarterback. Is this addition by subtraction? Maybe. I'm going with Miami.
All right. Earl is going with the Panthers. I'm going with Miami also.
I'm going with Miami. I was going to pick the Panthers, but Chuba Hubbard's out. So Gotta go with
He showing up is.
Yep.
And by Gary's face, it looks like something is happening interesting on this Minnesota Cleveland.
Yeah. They knocked the ball down, but then the Vikings called a timeout, so they got 7 seconds back for the Browns. Then they threw a pass, got tackled in bounds, like a 30-yard catch, but he was in bounds, so time just ran out. Vikings win.
Ain't that something? Look at that. Raiders at Colts. Raiders at Colts. I picked them to win the division. I'm going to go with the Colts. But I saw one thing that I was concerned about last week. I saw the old Daniel Jones show up a couple of times. Like, all right. Is that an anomaly? I don't know. But I'm going with Colts, man.
What did he Sanchez gets mentioned today. But I'm going to go with the Colts.
True. Did Dave freeze? He did.
Dave has the Colts and Earl.
Got the Colts.
You got the Colts? Gotcha. Here we go. The age of Jackson Dart has begun. Giants at Saints. They indoors. They run fast indoors. I got the Giants.
Giants.
Earl and I both have the Giants also.
Watch this video weekend. Saints actually win the game.
Shout out to
Hey.
Sorry, I'm just saying.
I love Scatterboo.
We got a clean sweep on the Giants picks this week. That's what made me think about it.
Let's stop all this talk. Let's get to the next pick.
All right, Judge,
Cowboys at Jets. Cowboys at Jets. I got the Jets, man, getting their first win against the Cowboys.
Earl and I both have the girls.
I'm taking the Jets. Cowboys outside of Dallas don't play well, seemingly. So I'm going to take the Jets.
Broncos at Eagles. I got the Eagles, man.
Earl has the Eagles. I got the Broncos.
Give me Denver.
All right. Upset maybe there. Titans at Cardinals. Cam Ward said, to be perfectly blunt, we are ass. That's exactly what he said.
Exactly what he
said. I got the Cardinals.
Earl and I both have the Cardinals also.
Cardinals as well. If the quarterback say your ass, I'm gonna take your word for it. And keep you on my fantasy bench until you do better. So, yeah.
This is a surprisingly good game, a good matchup here. Buccaneers, Seahawks, both 3-1. Was not expecting it out of the Seahawks. But I got Buccaneers.
I got the Bucks. Earl has the Bucks.
That's
Dave with the Bombardiers behind him.
I'm gonna take the Seahawks since it's in Seattle. Take Seattle. The Seahawks in Seattle for this one.
Let me see somebody parachute.
Andrews Air Force Base.
There you go. Lions at Bengals, man. I got the Lions, man. Lions was like, we don't need that goddamn offensive coordinator. We got this.
Earl and I both got the Lions.
Do we have to ask?
Yeah, we know you picking the Bengals.
Okay.
All right, next.
Commanders at Chargers. JD5 is back, man. The Chargers lost their other tackle as well. This was actually my Super Bowl matchup too. I ain't gonna lie. At the beginning of the season, I got the Commanders in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Also the Chargers.
Earl and I both have the Chargers.
I'm gonna try to get through this because I think my laptop is having a meltdown.
Join the club.
Found out that I purchased another one. It was like, oh, I got something for you.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is if y'all can see what's happening right now. I got like weird stuff happening. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the next thing if I can get to it. Come on.
Here do the Bills.
I'm just trying to pull up the actual. I'm having a. Oh.
You can just say it if you can't pull it up.
Talking on mute. What's it me, Dave? Can you hear?
I'm gonna go with the Bills on this one. I can hear you. I got Bills.
Bills. David Earl got the Bills as well.
Awesome. Monday night game, Chiefs at Jaguars. I got the Jags, man. 3-1.
I'm taking the Jags as well. David Earl going with the Chiefs.
Week 6 Thursday night football game. Eagles at Giants, which they pointed to. Giants at home, divisional matchup. They go back-to-back wins. Let me get the Giants on this one too.
All right. Dave and Earl did not pick the Giants. They went with the Eagles.
They picked it.
I also went with the Eagles.
And we have another London game next week. Broncos at Jets at 9:40 a.m. next Sunday. In this game, I got Broncos taking this one.
Broncos for Dave, Broncos for Earl, and Broncos for myself.
I'm with it. And let's see if I can get the. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get the music to stop because everything is just being weird at this point. Of course, man, this is the Hot Seat Podcast presents Football Talk live, streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Oh my! I'm here.
Got your head nodded, but no sound outside of the music. And we out. I'll tap it with Malik for the his picks after.